Right, hello everyone. Welcome to my Wednesday night Rollin with the Crohnies stream. If anyone in the chat could just let me know if they can hear, just because that's usually my problem if ever I have driver updates. So if anyone can confirm they can hear, I would very much appreciate that. Before we get going, obviously, I'm not sure if I'm on 110 or 111 follows, but anyone who's been watching Instagram probably knows if there is one missing why that might be. So I think I opened up a can of worms, unfortunately, because I've been getting quite a few messages coming. So we'll share some of those later. If anyone does want to watch the stream, obviously, if you haven't followed already, we're trying to get to 150 follows. And also, my charity Tiltify is still going, that I should have got the link for. I will get the link for in a minute if anyone does want to donate. And I do plan on potentially doing another what was it, like our gaming charity stream, but I'll go over that a little bit more in a little while. So I don't even want to introduce you because I know we're gonna have to. I've just realised your trophy's actually behind you as well.
Of course it is.
So go on, tell everyone who you are, because I know full well you're gonna love this.
No, right, okay. So, yeah, I'm Joe. I am the first ever charity stream winner from Rollin with the Cronies the other week, which was good fun. Um, Other than that, I'm not really sure what else there is to say other than sort of getting into it and about
Okay,
me and
cool.
my sort of weird belly.
Okay, cool. So, firstly, if anyone does have any weird background noise tonight, my neighbour is doing DIY, I think, so I apologise in advance. I will have to shut the window, worst case. But also, I'm trying to. I've got major brain fog today. I've had quite a busy day going on. The other thing, I can't remember what it was, so I will come to it when I remember. So, oh, that was it. I was getting lots of lag on Monday night. I think it's because my game was very demanding on my CPU. So if anyone does notice any lag, please also let me know. So ideally, sound if someone can clarify, and if any lag, also clarify as well. Because I think that's what was happening when I was doing the Jackbox party games with the charity stream. I need to have one of my friends look into it who understands more about PCs, because I'm still getting to grips with it. But yeah,
There was a
so
lot of people on that one, though, wasn't there?
there was a lot of
Like,
people watching, and there was a lot going on, and it was my most popular stream ever, and it kept crashing, and I was so frustrated because it just wasn't happening. And the other day, I don't know if COD's doing too many updates, or well, it's definitely doing too many updates, but whether there's a lot more going on, I don't know. But I was having major lag issues the last 2 Mondays when I'm gaming, so I definitely need to look into it, because it's definitely not my internet. Hello, we've got a few people obviously in the chat. Anyone who's not joined one of my Wednesday night streams before, please don't be a lurker, please get involved, please ask questions, no matter how silly or whatever you think they are. Obviously the more of you that's in here, please keep chatting. I love it when you obviously ask questions and get involved, it's great. So obviously, Joe, tell us about your journey so far with, obviously, from diagnosis, I guess.
yeah, so I mean, what are the? I never really asked this. What are the sort of limits on stories and
Go
how much
for it.
sort of detail? Right. Okay.
I've had
That's
major
fine.
detail, major horrifying
Okay.
stories, scaring the crap out of people.
Okay.
I'm happy for you to go as disgusting as possible. In fact, the funnier and the more disgusting, the better. And
Okay.
we've even had weeds discussions and everything. So I love how Siddy's in the group going, "That's from me." Yeah. So I don't care. If you're easily offended, it's not the stream for you, is it? Really? Someone else has put,
No.
"Go
Okay.
for it, lad."
All right. Okay. That's fine. So I was 15 years old, and I remember I was playing out with the gang on the local green space, and all of a sudden I did this massive shart. And so I like obviously waddled home because you don't want to play it with sharpie pants. And I remember looking at it, and it was like a really thick red jelly, basically.
Oh
And I was
no.
like, okay, obviously as a 15-year-old, you think, great, that's not normal. That's not something that should be there. And then from then on, really, it sort of got worse and worse. Yeah, I had to waddle home. We've all done the waddle walk. But yeah, it got worse and worse from there, really. And it was just as I was going into my GCSEs as well. So I was getting to my secondary school in the morning, spending an hour and a half on the toilet, and obviously being no one wants to have a poo at secondary school, just in case someone comes in and does like an in-betweeners type thing. But yeah, I obviously didn't want to spend my mornings there, and I'd often get my dad. My dad would have to come and pick me up. I'd come home. I'd spend more time on the toilet. Might have a sleep as well, to be fair, because it obviously knocks it out of you. And yeah, I'd obviously maybe have a shower as well, because you feel a bit grim sometimes after you've had a few sessions on the toilet. Let's say, especially a public toilet like a secondary school toilet. Must shout out to the cleaners though, because they always manage to keep the toilets nice and clean. So yeah, I did appreciate that massively. So yeah, early in the mornings, really, it was affecting me, and I was getting to school at about 11 o'clock in the morning, then being able to get on with my lessons. I wasn't much of a social person as a 15, 16-year-old. I really did enjoy staying in and watching sort of Family Guy, comedy shows and stuff like that.
Who doesn't love Family Guy? I just watched American
exactly.
Dad while I was eating my dinner.
Yeah, no, I loved it. And again, because I was spending a lot of time indoors, it was sort of, you could go to the toilet. I've got all my box sets lined up down there. I've still got them on DVD. I can't bring myself to get rid of them. But you'd know that when you got off the toilet or whatever and you came back, there was, Family Guy or whatever was there. Your TV was there. I went on holiday to Malta, I think it was, in 2013. And I was really poorly on that holiday, and we were unsure what was going on at that moment with me then. I was waking up, I was sort of saying, no, I really don't feel up to today. My mum thought I was just being lazy. She kept moaning at me because we'd spent all this money on the holiday, and there was me sleeping in the day. And but she understands. It's all right. She's not like a horrible mum. But yeah, that was we didn't know what was going on. To most people, I was just sort of a teenager that was sleeping in the day, and we were on holiday, and I didn't want to go out and do things. And again, there was nearly another waddle walk. There was one time we were out for dinner, and I was like, Dad, I need to go. Give me the key. And Dad, is rapid response. He was like, yeah, all right. Goes in his pocket, pulls out everything but the key, gets the key. I do the quickest power walk home and back to the villa place, and I can't do the door. It's one of them old-fashioned doors with a crack lock on it, and I was just like, right, here we go. So I had to ring Dad again. Dad, rapid response emergency Dad, just slowly sauntering down the hill, and I could see him, and I was just like, please hurry up, something's coming out. Again, no urgency whatsoever from Dad. And then as it got into the winter of 2013, they gave me fiber gel, which I don't know if you've ever had it. It's awful. It's this sort of crap powder that you mix with water, and it makes you obviously want to gag. But I don't know what it's meant to do, but it made me a hell of a lot worse. And in the end, it got to the point where Dad sort of went into the doctor's surgery and said he needs to have some sort of hospital intervention and some sort of procedure to see it. And he was
would it get to that extent without them thinking to do this sooner? That's crazy.
They didn't think to do that, and it got to the point, fair play to Dad, he stood in the doctors and was like, I'm not going to sort of go until you can say to me that you'll get something booked in. Not that he's that sort of person at all, and we're that sort of family, but he was like,
any real parent, I mean, obviously you're quite lucky, because I know not everyone would have that luxury, but I mean, if you're a parent and your kid's not right and they're suffering, you would get nasty in the end. Anyone would, because you'd get that fed up of it because something's not right.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he was getting to the point where I was obviously becoming a lot skinnier. I was losing a lot of weight from it. I was really, really fatigued all the time, and I think I was probably starting to get a bit more upset as well, and get sort of just crying a lot more, because it's not nice when you're 15 and you're constantly tied to the toilet and you're sort of shitting blood and stuff like that. So I had a colonoscopy, which or is it a flexisigmoidoscopy? Potentially, it was one of the two. And so the first one I ever had, daunting 15, and I was like, got given this enema to do before I went. and 15-year-old about to shove something up your arse, you're like, I can't do this. I really cannot do this.
Out of
And
curiosity, there's
yes,
only one so far that's had the enema instead. Everyone else has had the drinks. Have you since had the drinks or not? Because I really want the comparison to see which one's better or worse.
No, so I'm on a lot of the forums and I see, is it Movie Prep?
I always call it Movie Prep because it moves
movie
quick.
Prep.
But I think it is Movie Prep, but I'd call it Movie because it moves.
I've seen people's post about it and how awful it is, and it does make me thankful that I have had the two procedures I've had. I've had enema both times.
Yeah.
So again, fair play to Dad. He'd never wanted to have to do it to 15-year-old son, but he gave me a hand. I won't go into too much detail with it, but he made sure that we got the procedure going with the enema, and then obviously
that's interesting, Paul. Your advice, what you've just put in there, saying
there
they
we go.
usually give the enema just for the flexible one. So because they don't go all the way in and round. Oh, so you haven't had the full probe in then?
No, I did. When I said flexi-sigmoidoscopy, I did think it was that one. It wasn't a colonoscopy. It was the flexi one. So that's good. There we are. That's something I've learned. I never knew that. So I'm there, stood obviously in the toilet, like prancing about, trying to hold this enema in for as long as you can.
Yeah.
And then I obviously got upset then as well because it wasn't nice. And then I went to the hospital and I walked in there. Mum and Dad came with me because I wanted them to. I had my Simpson, I think it was a Simpsons dressing gown. I was ready to go, I had my slippers. And it was an old man's clinic basically, so you could tell that they'd obviously squeezed me in, but I was the youngest in there by about 40-50 years, but I didn't care at that point. It was obviously something that needed to happen, and so I get onto the table and everything. They start pumping me full of air, and I'm like, I need to shit really badly. And they're like, honestly, you won't poo. You've cleared out. I'm like, no, I will poo. And they're like, no, you won't poo. Just let anything go. And then I thought, I'm gonna have to let go. And like, obviously, the biggest fart came out because they're pumping you full of air. And we all laughed about it in the end. It was quite nice that they were like, oh, we've seen it all before. Don't worry. So it was a Kettering General Hospital, so the staff were like brilliant at making me feel comfortable and happy about everything. And then after that I had a McDonald's, and ever since then really it's been sort of controlled with Pentasa. The levels of Pentasa have fluctuated. I've got them here actually. So I have 1 gram in the morning and 1 gram at night. I think I'm meant to be on more, but I don't want to up it really because I want to try and keep it as minimal as possible. And then every year I call it my MOT. I'll have a phone conversation, or pre-COVID I went into the actual surgery, Kettering General, and had a chat with the, there we are, another one on the Pentasa. I go in and just I sit down, he opens the folder, he says, how you getting on? How's your bowels? How's your poo? Yeah, good. What are you up to? Just working at the minute, done this, done that. Cool, see you in a year. And sometimes I think I've just paid £3.50 to park for that, but then I also think if I don't go to that, I don't want to fall out the system in case I'm ever ill. And also I'm obviously very appreciative that they do monitor it and care. And then, so it was coming up, I think, I'm 25 now and I got diagnosed when I was 15, and I thought, right, 10 years is coming. He's been pushing for me to have another flexi-sigmoidoscopy.
Overdue one by this point.
Yeah. So I, the first couple of years he went, right, we'll get the flexi form out or whatever. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then over sort of Christmas time, just gone, I wasn't the best. And I thought, right, it's probably the time just to have a look and sort of man up a bit and, and you maybe do the enema yourself. But, and I did, New Year, I managed to get an appointment in with him, and with the flexi-sigmoidoscopy, and when in this time, I don't remember the enema being as traumatic. So the enema was absolutely fine this time. And then the procedure bit this time, just as they were like finishing up, I started to go a bit lightheaded. And they wheeled me out on the trolley after a while, and they're like, I don't feel good. And then within a couple of minutes I was absolutely fine. So so I've had another one, and I mean, on the forms that they've got, I don't think they actually know what it is. It says I think is it indeterminate Crohn's. They put on the thing like Crohns/colitis. I don't think they quite know
Which one?
What one it is specifically.
Come on, Siddy, get your knowledge out, type away.
Yeah, I need to know. So, yeah, like I said, I'm on Pentasa for it, and yeah. Other than that, it's in the family as well. My cousin has quite severe Crohn's, and yeah, fingers crossed it's controlled for now. And I've managed to go through sort of sixth form university, worked full time for a number of years now as well. So, touch wood, I am under control. We like to think. I've obviously had bad days, as a lot of people do, and days where I obviously don't want to move. And if I know that I eat something potentially a bit iffy, I know that I might have to stay near a toilet. So, other than that, yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't done the full colonoscopy with you then, in that case. I'm quite surprised at that, actually. You're the only one so far who's said what you've said, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think that from when they obviously did the biopsies and showed me the photos as well, there's a bit of inflammation. It's not massively inflamed, and there's the odd. I don't know the terms for it. There's like the odd. Is it the tiny bit of like mucousy ulcery bits on it?
Yeah.
But it's just mainly bits of inflammation.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think because I'm not sort of dramatically losing weight and, you know, constantly having issues day to day, maybe that's why I haven't had the full sort of colonoscopy procedure. But I think maybe as I get older, and obviously we all know that the risks of various illnesses get worse and worse, that's probably something will have to be investigated. But for now, I don't need to think about that.
So where is your inflammation mainly located? Is it which part of the large? Do you know or not? Because they give you diagrams, don't they?
No, I've got no idea. I know that I kept the printout that had the little photos on, because again, it's fascinating to see that there's these little these little pincers that come out and like pinch a bit of you and then take it back in, and it's incredible to watch it on the TV. Again, it's uncomfortable and you do feel like you want to shit your pants half the time, but at the same time, the doctors and nurses are really comforting, and everyone knows that they're in there for a same sort of procedure. So I think like, I had a chat with a bloke about football, for example. Everyone knows that, you know, it's not really the nicest procedure. There was a bloke in there that was having one that way. What's that one called?
Endoscopy. I had endoscopy and colonoscopy done same day. I did.
I could hear her prepping him for the endoscopy, and I thought I'm so fortunate in a sense that I'm only in for what I'm in for, and he.
Don't think I could do it again. I think unless they said you've probably got, I don't know, if they said we think you might have lung cancer or something, they'd have to tell me something pretty bad. I'd have colonoscopy again. I didn't like it. I don't want to go through it again, but no one does. And if it keeps my Crohn's under control, then it's worth it. But I honestly don't think I could do it. I think unless I was asleep, I don't think I could do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I think they asked him in there and they were like, have you ever had one of these before? And he was like, no. And I was like, I've never had one, but I've heard obviously about them, and I'm just like, oh.
I think it depends on how they prep you as well, because one of my friends, they said they didn't really do any prep as such beforehand, and they basically threw up everywhere whilst it was going down. Whereas obviously because I'd done the bowel prep the night before, there was literally nothing inside me. What's this, in the waiting room before a colonoscopy? One lady was reading 50 Shades of Grey, soaking herself up for a colonoscopy, I guess. Was it me?
It's your thing and you're into that. Yeah, if you're into that and you can get off on a colonoscopy, by all means do it. But yeah, it's...
Was we in on the same day? No, I don't know. Fair play to her, she's probably just chilling. I think most people put it on like a tablet, don't they? So most people don't know what they're reading, and it's such a shit book. It's a terrible book. I got bored of it and it was awful. Such bad literature.
I've never read it. I've never even watched the film. Not
the
for
films make me cringe. I've watched a mate of just like, I have to... One of them people, if you say a word that's a bit like, you know you're going to be blinded on Google after you've Googled it, and I still have to do it on that person. So the book was actually bought for me and I didn't know what it was, started reading it, and The literature's the
Sat there
same
going
on
through, looking
repeat.
side by side. Yeah.
It's on repeat. It's such a shit book. I'm sorry to the woman who wrote it, but it's just glorified porn. I mean, there's so much better stuff like writing out there. It's just the, yeah. I could go on about it. We're going off subject really, but yeah. Oh yeah, but I am the curious by nature. They were all where I used to work, the one salon. They always used to say stuff to me because they knew full well it wouldn't matter how bad it was. I'm gonna Google it. So they'd be like, "Do you know what a merkin is?" I'm like, "No," but now I need to know. And they wouldn't
Knowledge is
tell
power,
me.
isn't it?
Yeah, so then I'd have to go in. Merkin's a pubic wig for anyone who's curious and wants to go in IBD. Go on Urban Dictionary. I love Urban Dictionary. I think it's so good.
What about space docking? Have you heard of that?
No. Should we?
Oh, okay.
Should we? What was it? What was it? Sorry.
Space docking.
Space docking.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You seem to know quite a lot about terminology when it comes to stuff like this.
I don't. When have you ever found that out?
Because you said a word to me the other day that I Urban Dictionary'd. What was it? That was about getting off on poo. So I will read space docking, Urban Dictionary, the act of defecating directly into one's vagina, like a spaceship attempting to dock to the space station. I'm not going to read any more because I think we get the gist. Oh, where do you even get this stuff from?
I don't know, but you definitely shouldn't learn what Cleveland steamer is, because that's not a thing. A Cleveland steamer's not a thing.
I have to do it. I can't help myself. Others.
No, you don't need to know that. It's fine.
Wow. Okay.
Come on. What is this?
A Cleveland steamer is where, and it says often in the act of a breakup in brackets, you have sex with someone, wait for them to fall asleep, take a huge shit on their chest and leave. Where do you get all this info? Is this like a guy thing, or is this like just a Joe's encyclopedia?
Again, you've got to think I was a teenage boy and am still immature. Like, it's funny, isn't it? It's just funny.
I mean, wow. I mean, I feel like we've all learnt something from this show.
Yeah.
Sid come with all his knowledge, with all his doctor stuff, and you've come with just an Urban Dictionary full of crude information.
Yes, so there we go. You know, that's it. That's the knowledge you need to know. I don't think there's any. One more.
Okay, one more. Go on.
Oh, I don't know. Hang on. No, I can't think of it.
Okay.
It's something to do with a dragon. Angry pirate. That's one.
I know the angry pirate one.
Yeah.
That's an old one. So I know
there
that one. So that's okay. Everyone else is probably sat there going, "I don't know what that is. I'm going to go and Google it." Yeah.
With some interesting search histories tonight.
I often have to delete my history because it syncs up with the salon, and I always think that people must think at work I'm absolutely crazy because I'll even Google like, is my poo supposed to be yellow and stuff like that. So I know full well they'll be at the salon going, "Oh, Sam's been on Google again self-diagnosing and stuff."
That's another thing as well. Obviously, a massive issue with sort of having an autoimmune disease or whatever. Whenever you have any sort of symptoms, never Google it because
you die.
You do. You think you're dying, and it says like in the rarest of rare, one in whatever cases you might have sort of this really scary disease, and you think I'm that one. I am the 0.004%. So yeah, I'd never Google anything as well. That's a way to terrify yourself.
The only health issue I think I've ever had that sort of doesn't sound as bad as it is when you Google, because I think I'm actually more of severe cases, or like my rib stuff, which I've shared obviously previously with people. That's the only thing I think I've ever Googled where I'm like more of an extremer case of it. Whereas most other stuff, even if you got something, it's not to say like with Crohn's, obviously it's quite a broad thing. And I know I've said on a few streams that I feel like the NHS need to really badly update theirs because it starts going through figures on cancer and stuff like that I really don't think needs to be that in depth, because it's like, oh, you've got Crohn's, by the way, you're going to die of cancer, and it's like, really, does that really need to be there? Like,
and that's what I mean when I said earlier about the sort of colonoscopy side of things may get more frequent as you get older because of the risk, but I only think about the risks because of the stuff I've sort of Googled as well. And like, don't get me wrong, the consultants mentioned it to me, but it's not like you are going to get cancer, but it's like you may have an increased risk, which okay is fine, but there is a lot of links on Google to the word Crohn's, and in a very sort of, in a few words later or a few sentences, the word cancer. And I don't think that's particularly great. And obviously the like Crohn's and Colitis Foundation and what is it, Crohn's Colitis UK are doing work to it. So you never know. Hopefully one day we may find I hope a cure.
They do take over the NHS page for it, because you go on their site, and I must admit, I've never been that keen on charities, because I feel a bit like by the time they've paid the wages and everything and whatever and advertised, what is it they're actually doing? Whereas I must admit, with Crohn's and Colitis, it's one of the only charities really I come across that I feel like I can tell exactly where the money's going, because they try so hard with like the website and the information and the booklets and share your content, and even the social media team are amazing, and they actually give a shit, and they are trying to push it, and they do a hell of a lot, really. And
it does feel sort of very close knit and sort of
definitely.
It does. And I mean the magazine that comes out is because I pay for the membership. I think my mum paid for it, but anyway. But when the magazine,
my mum's buying it for me.
But when the when the magazine comes, and then I also, just before the pandemic hit, it was in February last year, I went to one of these like networking mornings, and mum had seen it advertised, and she was like, "Why don't you go?" And I was like, "Oh, no, we can't." And I was like, "No, do you know what? I will go along." And actually, I was the only person there to begin with, and it was just the other volunteers. But it was really nice, and we sort of just sat and had a chat about this COVID thing that was happening, and like nobody knew what was sort of going on with it, and also just talking about our own bodies and our own sort of quirks with the illness and everything. And I mean, we were looking forward to doing there was a bluebell walk going to happen around one of the local sort of reservoir places, a 10-kilometre one, which I was looking forward to. I was going to sign up for Walk It again, but that obviously you can't really. I liked doing it as a group. I was going to do it again this year, but I like going and meeting as an event sort of thing, but obviously we can't do that at the minute. So
I must admit, it's definitely something I would want to do in terms of go and meet other people with it, because although I'd suffered probably from about the age of 25, so still technically older at 25, I only obviously really got a diagnosis during lockdown. So like, I haven't really known anything other than chatting to people on the internet, and it's made a massive help to me to be able to like just chat to people, because I know obviously before we started I said to you I hate when I get like random weirdo messages come through, but I get so many off people with IBD, and I love those. Literally message me and joke with me about you poo, and like have conversations, and I actually really like people chatting to me about their health and stuff, because it feels like more like a friendship, even though you obviously don't know this person, but you've instantly got not a bond, but you're almost like, the minute someone says I've got Crohn's, it's like say no more. I get like the feeling of being trapped to the toilet. It doesn't matter what severity you are, you understand the isolation and being trapped to your toilet and certain things you can and can't do, and those sort of messages are nice to think that you either helping people or you just a listening ear when someone wants to rant if they found out they've had more inflammation but they was hoping for less on the colonoscopy and all that sort of stuff.
I mean there's a few people I follow on Instagram with that have had surgery and different things like that, so it's obviously really affected their life, and in a way I feel grateful that I haven't I haven't had to have surgery, touch wood, and hopefully I won't have to, but seeing them sort of having the surgery, following their journey from having the surgery, getting back up to health, getting back to a bit of a bit of normality in their life, and then all of a sudden they have a really bad period with their health.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm fortunate that it has sort of leveled out, and I'm feeling rather healthy at the minute.
Yeah.
But I understand when the days are bad and the prolonged periods of time where things are bad, like, yeah, you just feel it. Whereas someone might look at it and think, they're not feeling well at the minute. But when you're going through it as well, a bit like anything, a bit like sort of the whole mental health thing as well, with what's going on at the minute, it's affected a lot of people, definitely, me included. And that's being spoken about more as well now, which I think is great. And yeah, it's one of these battles that people can't see that you're fighting inside, because of the whole "you don't look disabled" sort of thing, or you don't look like you've got an autoimmune disease. You look like a normal human being,
regular person, whatever that is. Yeah, because you're thin or whatever. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, this is the biggest I've been for a while, which is still not what I'm used to be honest. I've always been like, I know for guys it's not much of a reference, but I'm usually always been like a 10 to 12. I've never been big, never been small.
Same, yeah.
And I have clothing now that ranges from a size 4 to like a size 14. I mean, the 14 was when I was bad with my heart and I couldn't exercise, but it's weird to think that I usually always consistently around a size 8 now, which wasn't a size 8 from like middle school. So at times I've weighed what I weighed in middle school. So as reference, that's a bit odd, I guess.
Yeah.
And then because of that, people assume that you must be healthy because you're thin, and it's like, logically, okay, whatever. Or you get like comments like, "Don't lose any more weight, you're starting to look ill." I'm like, oh really?
I am ill.
Yeah, okay, I'll stop doing that. So I do think you get that a lot, and I think there's a lot of lack of education. I mean, a lot of people often share the whole, "Oh yeah, I totally can sympathise because I've got IBS, or I had acid reflux once off a spicy food, or I got an upset tummy because I had a curry last night," or whatever example you want to enter there. Feel free.
Yeah, no, I like. I people that are going for IBS as well, it must be horrific for them as well.
Yeah.
And I get that completely, but yeah, when people do try and sympathise sometimes with you, and it's like, no, it's not sort of the same. I get that it must be awful for you, but it is a different sort of kettle of fish. And also the seeing celebrities and influencers that come out saying, "Oh yeah, I've practically cured it, and I'm doing this," and I get people messaging me on Instagram saying, "Come and try this new diet that we've got, it's proven," and all this bollocks. I'm just like, no.
I'm not even polite to those people, because you always get the promote streamers, promote your game content, promote this or whatever, and I just ignore those, because at the end of the day they're just going to keep coming in either way. But whenever they put something like, "Oh, try this new fad diet," instantly I'm like, no, stop filling people with shit. And I get quite annoyed about those ones, because I think they're more harmful than good, and I don't think they should be out there, to be honest.
No, they can be misleading, especially for those that are finding their way in the sort of whole Crohn's and colitis world, I guess. If they see some things and panic, but actually a lot of the time it's best to, I know it might be shit, but you've got to let stuff happen a lot of the time, I think, and let your body work it out in a sense. And I know there's medication to take, but do you know what I mean? Just like understand your not limitations, but in a way, your sort of limitations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think it's almost like, for me, at my worst, when I didn't know what was going on, I just sort of think, if I stop eating, logically, I'll stop being bad. That was my, when people throw up and then they go and eat a meal and they throw up again, I'm like, stop eating. Wait for it to have a starvation period, you'll be fine. And for me, I thought, if I stop eating, logically at some point it'll stop happening. And I would actually say, I don't know if anyone else with IBD's ever tried it, but I can honestly say it is more painful, because without going into graphic detail, it's basically like your stomach lining is coming out instead. And it obviously, at the time, I didn't know what was happening. but that's effectively what happens. It's far more painful. So I've learned that starving myself doesn't work, and I kept getting told it was IBS through stress or whatever, or food, that I couldn't ever seem to find a food, so I stopped eating virtually anything, and like 500 calories a day, doing like 12-hour days and stuff wasn't good. And I can honestly say not eating doesn't help, and then also constantly living on safe food causes so many other problems because you're not getting the right food and everything. And it's okay when you're really desperate, but I was living on safe food for like at minimum a year and a half. In the end, I was just literally eating bread, which is not normal, so you can imagine hair
No.
falling out and stuff like that. And because they kept telling me that it was probably something I was doing, I guess, and then now I've got such almost like a mental disorder around food, because I'm starting to get in my head now that actually it's not probably what I'm eating. I could go and eat a curry and be fine. I could go and eat my safe food and probably be bad. It's just Russian roulette. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I've just got to roll with it. And
Yeah,
it's starting,
exactly.
I'm only just starting now to get that bit of mentality where, don't get me wrong, I'll save it for a weekend because I don't want to be off work ill. But yeah. Oh, hello, you're right, have you stopped by? But yeah, so it's sort of getting used to the fact that I can now actually probably eat. I'm just a bit nervous, so I'll keep it for a weekend just in case I am bad. But I've definitely much got a fuck it. It's with the gods and what the gods want to do. Let them get on with it. And if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And like you say, if in doubt, stay in for the evening. Don't make too many plans the next day. If it works out, then you know you can sort of build on it. And yeah.
I mean, I always thought steak used to be a problem for me, so I sort of cut it out of my diet. And then one time I thought, "Do you know what? I like steak," and had it, and I had no problems whatsoever. And it, like you just said, it's with the gods sort of thing. I do believe it. I think it's, you can spend your life. I think it's as well, like not too long ago I had some salady stuff, and I had quite a bit of salady stuff. And I had a bit of a bad tummy to it, and that's made me think, oh, maybe I shouldn't be eating a lot of salady stuff. But no, actually, I do quite like it, not all the time, but it's good for you as well. You can't just spend your life eating the processed, sort of like you said, safe foods.
With me, even down to certain brands of lettuce, like so curly lettuce, no go for me. Whereas like more iceberg lettuce, so even down to particular stuff like certain types of lettuce can be really fussy. I'm not great with vegetables, and I do like salad and I can generally tolerate that okay, but a lot of vegetables are a problem. What have you found? Anything else that's you found an issue, or is it mainly just that really?
Well, to throw a curveball into it as well, and this is my one interesting fact about me, I have an egg allergy as well.
Me
so
too.
yeah.
I've only just figured it out. It's took me like literally forever. It's not an allergy, mine's an intolerance. I get acid reflux for about 3 days, even off, a croissant with egg in it. I will have acid reflux so bad for about 3 days. Every meal I eat, it'll trigger it back off, even though I could just have bread. And I literally have to sleep sat up, and it's egg. And I've only just finally found out what it is. And I'm even having to eat. Do you have to eat vegan ice cream as well?
Yeah, so I mean, the way I see it, it sort of goes hand in hand with the egg and the Crohn's thing, colitis thing, whatever it is, because I find that my body likes the sort of more processed and cheaper food, basically, than more rich and expensive food. And actually, the cheaper food has less ingredients in. And like egg is obviously I'd say a high value ingredient compared to something else that they combined it with. So actually, a lot of the stuff I eat, which I enjoy, is cheaper and doesn't have egg in. So Ben and Jerry's is expensive ice cream, in my opinion, and that's got egg in. Whereas if I was to have like Tesco's own Neapolitan, that would be absolutely fine because it's basically just a couple of ingredients.
There's milk protein in that. Is it? I can never pronounce it. Is it whey protein?
Yeah, whey protein.
So that makes me feel really sick because someone told me to try and have protein drinks when obviously I was really not eating. That makes me really ill. So I've had to, I think I could probably, I haven't tried it, but I guess I could probably have, the proper Cornish cream ice cream where it's literally cream frozen. Other than that, I literally cannot eat it now, which baffles me. So yeah, so
So that's developed over
well,
recently, do you
originally,
think, or
I think because originally my safe food, when I say 500 calories a day, I know this sounds really bad, but would either be crisp sandwich, toast, croissant, or I've literally gone a whole day at work. I've done like a 12-hour shift, non-stop, no breaks, nothing. Come home, had 3 bags of crisps in bed, and just gone straight to sleep. And I've done that often. And the amount of arguments my family had with me because they thought I was just being a bit naughty, I think. And I used to keep lemon sherbets in my car, and if ever I felt faint, I just suck on a lemon sherbet. That's how bad it got for me in the end with food. Because
yeah, I
really,
mean, yeah,
they've probably, I know this sounds a bit harsh, but they probably give me not an eating disorder as in anorexia, but an eating disorder as in anxiety, what the food will do to me, because they made me feel like it was something I was doing for so long that over
yeah,
5 years your brain sort of conditioned. And then I only started to I don't really know how I managed to figure it out in the end, but obviously, like I say, once I'd sort of thought, is this egg? I know it was slowly getting to a point where if I ate boiled egg, I'd get a little bit, but I found it was depending on if I had runny eggs and I was dipping if it was too runny, it'd cause it really bad, but if it was more cooked, it wouldn't be too bad. And then it had got to the point where it was literally, even if it was in food with it in, and I cut it out for about 2-3 weeks, and instantly my symptoms eased off.
so strange.
So it's definitely egg because, like I say, I haven't eaten ice cream for years because of obviously, like I say, conditioned to not trusting food, and it's only because I had tonsillitis recently that basically I obviously went to the supermarket, and now obviously I don't know about you guys, but checking ingredients on everything to see if I can eat it or not. And yeah, I was like, oh shit, I didn't even think about the binding agent. But even cheesecake, apple pie, apple crumble, anything that if you made at home wouldn't have it in, all of a sudden the minute you buy it from a shop, it must be some sort of preservative or something for the food. The minute you buy cheesecake from a shop pre-made, it's now got egg in it. Yeah, I wouldn't make cheesecake with egg in, nor
No,
apple
a lot. I mean,
crumble.
like a lot of the stuff does, and again, a comparison with like the Krispy Kreme donuts, for example. If you buy them, like the expensive ones, they'll have egg in and different things. But if you buy Asda's own, like ring donuts or
Yeah,
Lidl's at
yeah.
25p each, they're insane. They're so good, and they don't have egg in. It's almost the expensive stuff will tend to have egg in for me, but um, yeah, I still
I
manage to find substitutions, and like you can. I've recently had a few more vegan options, so I've
Yeah,
had
I
some
eat a
vegan
lot of stuff
cake.
like that.
And I think the vegan cake, because I've never had normal cake, I don't know what it's like, but
Yeah,
my mum and dad and people that have had normal cake have said, you know what, it's
it's
pretty
not
spot
that
on. So
good.
yeah, I don't feel too left out with cake.
I think for me, if someone said you got a gluten intolerance or not so much dairy because I don't like milk, but if someone said, right, you've got to give up bread and cheese tomorrow, I think I'd be like, mate, just put a gun in me now. You've already took enough off me as it is, just kill me.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
it's
I
not
live
with
on
it,
I
worth
live on
living.
pizza as well. So bread and cheese on pizza, like that. Pizza is a really good
Pizza
food for
is
me.
a
Oh,
nightmare for me.
oh
So,
no.
yeah, it's Italian is my favourite food, and it's my most problematic food, and I still haven't figured it out because I've tried cutting like things like onion and garlic and stuff like that out in case it's that, and although I'm very nervous of introducing that back in, I don't particularly know if it is that because if I make pizza from scratch, I can eat it. But any other pizza at the minute, even if I get a garlic free one, I can't. It doesn't work. But I'm too nervous now. Technically, I'm somewhat in remission. I
Hmm.
think. I don't really know, but I'm still too nervous to do it. But like I say, I can go and make it and be fine. So I don't know if it's something they're putting in the base because I've been told there's a lot of fillers goes
Yeah.
into pizza bases, and I think it might actually be more in preservatives and stuff.
I
Um,
mean, that might be the way. It's a bit of a pain in the backside for you, I
yeah,
guess, but because you have to make stuff from scratch. But
yeah,
again, it's finding out about your body and stuff, isn't it? And
yeah,
finding
yeah,
what makes
definitely.
it tick and what doesn't like it. But I mean, I had a really, really awful diet at uni, and I managed to survive that. So, but as I've come home, I have put more weight on. I will sort of accept that, but I don't see it as such a bad thing because I know that I'm at least healthy, and like when the sort of weight was dropping off me before, I obviously knew that I was getting a bit poorlier,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
but I get what it must be weird because obviously like ladies' clothing
Yeah,
sizes are
yeah.
so strange, whereas for blokes, I do sort of it's all right. It's like small, medium, large, XL. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well,
It's nice in that
put it
sense.
this way, I've always been like probably a medium, and now I'm all of a sudden in like, I was in an extra small, and now I'm in a small, so it doesn't sound like that much of a difference, but obviously for guys, your figures generally are like that, aren't they? Even if you get bigger, you're still technically like that, whereas a woman's like
Yeah, yeah,
that, I guess, if you're lucky, or are you like that? Or are you like that? There's like that many different bloody body shapes. Or you can be like an apple where you are more rounded off altogether. So I think
yeah.
that's why obviously women's clothing's so complicated. And they never, like I say, I've almost had to stop shopping in places like Asda because I used to think cheap clothing for work and I can't buy their clothes because it doesn't fit. Unless it sounds so bad, I wear children's clothes sometimes now because
Right.
I'm quite short and because I'm short and the clothing, the way it fits, I often wear teenage size clothing that is size 14.
That says "Make boys cry" on it or something like that.
That's adults clothing actually, but it's by Motel Rocks, which is quite well known to being more of an anorexic fitting brand. Like I have to go to shops that fit more that sort of stereotype, which I don't know how I feel about it, I guess, but I always remember someone moaning, going, what did they say now? They were basically moaning about like plus size clothing and stuff like that. And I was like, to be honest, it actually works on the other end of the spectrum. Like, I don't know if anyone is in the chat, but if you're either end of the spectrum where you're quite thin, especially if you're petite and short as well, or you're someone who's quite tall or someone who's quite big, because they class you as more of a minority, I guess, they don't really ever fit you properly, so you have to get a bit more creative on where you shop. But I'm only 5'2.5", so like I say, most clothing.
You've said 2.5. You've tried to make it as tall as possible.
Well, blokes would count the half, so I don't see why ladies can't.
It wouldn't.
They would. They would. Every half an inch matters. But yeah. So I must admit, I've had to get a bit creative with it. But I definitely don't think that I'm super thin now. I think I'm a normal looking size, but I still have to usually buy kids' clothes half the time, which is good because it's so much cheaper and you don't get tax on it. So if I go to Next, something that would usually cost 30 quid is now costing me like 16 quid. And I've got a sports bra on at the minute from Asda, which was part of a set of 2 sports bras. And I paid a fiver, so I paid £2.50 for a sports bra. So I've had 2 sports bra for £2.50. Yeah.
Because they're kids' sizing, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
which is a bit embarrassing to say I can fit in a kid's sports bra because that basically means I've got nothing there. But yeah, I'm not going to complain about it being cheap.
No,
yeah, someone
not.
else has put about having to go online most of the time because of it and then send it back. I had to recently try and buy jeans, and I think jeans is one of those things unless you try it on and because of COVID, and I think jeans are difficult to fit anybody, male or female.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, any gender, jeans are the kind of clothing I buy once, buy lots of it when it fits, and then hope that I don't need to do it for another 10 years because I hate jean shopping. It's the worst form of clothes. I don't like clothes shopping anyway, but I hate jean shopping. I'm much like online shopping, really, to be honest.
Yeah, because I mean, you get all sweaty doing it, I find, as well, when you're in a changing room. Mm-hmm. But I went to Primark the other day, and now it's all sort of opened up a bit. As I walked in, I thought, right, I've got like one pair of chino shorts that I love, and I was just going to buy another like 5 pairs of them, but I just needed to try them on. And as soon as I picked up a basket thing, she went, "Oh yeah, fitting rooms are still closed." And I thought, I know they probably will still fit, but I want to just check anyway, because I don't want to have to go through the hassle of
going back
having to go back. Do you know what I mean? And it's just a pain in the arse. So I think what I'm gonna, I've left it too late now. I'm going away soon, so I need to. I'm just gonna have to take the risk with it. But I wear a lot of like Adidas sport shorts and stuff, just comfortable clothing. Sometimes I find when I'm having a bad day, I need to I need to get naked. Sometimes I feel like sometimes. Yeah, sometimes when I've come off the toilet and I've been sat there and my stomach's been going, like it feels like any clothes on my skin are just like annoying it. So sometimes I just have to get naked and just have nothing touching me. It sounds really strange, but
that's an interesting point if anyone is on the chat, because when my inflammation in my ribs at its worst, even the fabric touching it is really painful, but I've always just assumed that was my rib. Does anyone actually get that off their Crohn's when it's flaring quite bad, where their skin feels really sensitive on their stomach? That's quite an interesting one, actually, because that's something I've not discussed before. But I do think most people you talk to usually elastic waistbands.
Yeah. It's just comfortable, and I mean, I've got so used to it now, especially with lockdown and sort of working from home. The one time when I've had to put jeans on, I absolutely hate it, and I feel really constricted with them, and not because they're too tight. They're not, but just because I just feel like really enclosed in them, and that's why I've got like so many pairs of sort of comfortable shorts as well. And also, it doesn't matter what you look like, wear what you want, feel comfortable. Like, it doesn't matter what, do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what people think, what you wear.
I must admit, if anyone is female on here and wanting quite a good jean brand that is mainly stretchy, like you say, where there is actually stretchy give rather than traditional jeans that have no stretch, I did find Hollister, weirdly, actually, their jeans have a lot of elastic to them, even though they are still traditional jeans, and they literally cater. I was quite impressed, actually. They cater for literally, I think from 4'8" or 9", so quite short, all the way up to quite tall people. And if you get them on offer, you can actually get them quite cheap. But they're the only brand, other than, I always used to buy Levi's, but I used to buy them in America because I used to go out there a bit. I won't pay full price for them. But Hollister seem to be a bit, if you're someone who usually wears leggings or anything like that, they're the best jean brands
I must say, for like me, I found that Next jeans are actually really comfortable. When I've had, like, when I was wearing them before, and I'm sure if I started wearing them more often, I'd be okay with it. But Next jeans I found for me are really great. But it's a case of, again, you have to go and try them on. You can't. You can't. I mean, especially with, I don't know about you, but throughout the day sometimes I feel like I really bloat.
I'll go through fads. Like, I can go all day feeling great, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, I don't know, I'll either get hit with fatigue, or I just feel like really ill all of a sudden, like I need to be bad, or I just got an upset tummy, or it's painful. It's just like there's no consistency at all.
No, and that's one of the frustrating things. And like, you can go through patches of where you'll have a couple of bad days, or I'll end up if I sometimes have like a dodgy turd, I'll think, what did I eat, and try and think back to that. But it might just be your body, like reacting to stuff. But I'm very much a person that, so for example, if I'm nervous, my stomach will be affected by it. Like
stress is
and stress, sort of the nervous anxiety stress makes me have dodgy poos. And I mean, like, for example, I've got a trip coming up this year abroad. And I'm already thinking about that, because I'm going to have to be on a plane for like 7 hours. And obviously the plane toilets are there, but what if I go in the toilet and then I come out and there's a queue of 30 people? Not that there ever would be.
Can you imagine?
Like you don't want to be that person, the embarrassment, and then someone goes in and goes like on Joe on the In-Betweeners, was like, what have you done in there? Like that sort of person, you know, that sometimes you've left a bit of a stink in there or whatever.
Leave some tree car air fresheners in there.
I know, just like got out with it. But so I mean, I went to London the other day, and I did think to myself, look, right, what are you gonna do food wise? And it's just preparing with things like that as well. Obviously, if you need to go, if you need to do the waddle, you need to do the waddle. If you need to go and buy a spare pair, you can go and buy a spare
Sorry,
pair
that
or whatever.
comment's
But
great. That smell was there before.
yeah,
That's
no,
not a bad one to use, actually. I like that.
it's not like you can crack a window though, can you? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you can try. You might get sucked out. At least you don't have to do the walk of shame that way.
No, you get sucked out with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I mean. You'd have fell out the
yeah,
fight, it'd be fine.
yeah. No, that's a worry for me, obviously. And again, going abroad, it'll be sort of different food and
Out of
so
curiosity,
yeah.
when you travel, because I know last couple of times I've travelled, I was really ill, and like you said before, constantly wanting to sleep because I just feel rough.
Mm.
Do you find that travelling sets you off? Because apparently that's quite common, isn't it? I think.
I mean, the last time I did travel was 2015, and again, that was the same trip I'm going to do this year.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't seem to have too many problems, but I mean, I was ill on when I went on holiday in 2014, and that it was an all-inclusive bar, and I think it was because I was drinking. It's not the most manly drink, but it was apple schnapps and lemonade, and I think I've worked out that it's quite a sticky and heavy.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
heavy, but you know, it's like a
it is like
syrupy.
a syrup, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I worked out I'd actually been drinking sort of too much of that, and that had been affecting me. So
Yeah.
again, I was learning stuff there. But in regards to travelling and things like that, I'm always conscious that if you need a poo, you're gonna have to go. But no, it doesn't tend to affect me too much. But at the same time, if I know I'm doing a long journey or whatever, then I might end up holding on to stuff and then actually make myself a bit ill because I've held on for too long and then I've come blocked up.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's something that
I don't like to go in public toilets. I've
No.
got a phobia of them. In fact, I was joking with my guy mates on Discord the other day because I'll even have nightmares about even long before Crohn's. It's not even a number 2, even a number 1. I don't know why. I just don't like public toilets. And
No.
like I say, I've had nightmares over it for years. Reoccurring, it's like a phobia. I don't know why. But I will hold on to get home, and like you say, you make yourself far worse.
Yeah, I do, and I find that if I know some days I try and make myself go because if I know I don't go the next day, I know I'm going to be like blocked up to hell, and and in pain that way, and then just feel like you're trying to push like an apple out your bum.
That's another one actually, because I always say to people, obviously, how frequent do you go usually? What's normal for like a flare? What's normal for you normally? But also, it seems to be consistent that people say that if they don't go at all that day, they know full well they're going to be in pain later. Because I have that. I've not had a day. I can't remember the last time I've not gone at least once. And if I only go once, guaranteed later I'm going to feel like pain and bloating, and it's almost like I get excess gas that has nowhere to go. It's just there, and it's really painful.
I think with when I'm having a bit of a rough day, more often than not, I'll just sit on the toilet. I actually recently invested in a tripod to rest my phone on, so I can sit. Because it tends to happen. I'll be sat waiting all day to watch. I like football. We're waiting to watch a football match. And lo and behold, my stomach will be like, "Nah, you need the toilet just before the kickoff." I'll take my phone or my laptop in with me, and I just think I'm just going to ride this out and sit in here until I feel.
I have a meme for this that I will post on my. I'll put it on my story, so anyone watching in a bit, go and watch my story. But I have actually got a meme for this.
I just know I'm going to be sat there, and there's no point. I think before I'd try and like get off and then lie down, but by the time I got straight back into bed, I'd need to go again. So I thought just sit in there for a bit. And just sort of, crack the window a bit, sit there, it's nice and spacious. So, but on a normal day, I think today I've been twice. And again, before I came on this, I was like, shall I try? Do I need to go? Is my body telling me I need to go? Do you know what I mean? I was a bit sort of, worried whether I'd need to go or what. And then I was like, what if I need to go halfway through? I'm constantly thinking about that.
It is always on your brain, but I think the one thing with something like this, if you was like, I'm really sorry, I'm having a bad day, I need to go, I think everyone would be like, been there, got the t-shirt, take as long as you need, I'll feel for you. And no one's, I think whereas though you might be embarrassed, all anyone else would have is just, I don't know, like such built up sympathy. Because guarantee, you know, if the shoe was on the other foot and someone else said to you, I'm really sorry, but I'm having a bad day, I'm going to have to go, straight away you would get the exact same, oh God, I feel so bad for them right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been quite open with, I was open with my uni housemates, and they were really like grateful of it, and they knew that if I like was like bolting through, I'd need the toilet or whatever. People I worked with as well, I did tell them, because I thought, look, if I'm spending 8 hours a day with them 5 days a week,
not notice really.
No,
spend a lot of
one
life
point,
in there.
one point they're going to think, why is he like shirking off to the toilet 4 times? But it's easy if I, as soon as I told them, they were like, do you know what? That's fine. You take as much time as you need in the toilet. Like, and then like often I'd be sat there and I'd get a message saying, "Hi, are you okay?" Which was really nice.
I've got stuff like that in the past.
Yeah. And I think that's really nice. So everyone that I've ever told or spoken to about it has been accepting of it. I've never really, no, I've not had anyone sort of go, ugh.
Well,
it's just a part of, I make a bit of a joke about it.
Yeah. On that subject, because especially being 15 when he was diagnosed, which I think is probably one of the worst ages to be diagnosed at, really, because you sort of got enough going on with school and everything as it is.
Yeah.
But how have you actually found in terms of things like dating and stuff? We've obviously, because I think this is quite common that comes up, especially. I suppose anyone who, I'm not saying people over the age of 40 aren't dating and stuff, but most people around the ages of like 18 to 30 odd generally at some point are either having to date or will date or whatever. So how have you found stuff like that? Because that's quite a common question that keeps popping up with people.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first thing that I've sort of gone in and sort of said, by the way. Like, obviously, when I've been because when it affects me when I get nervous. If I've ever gone on like a first date or whatever, I've always thought, what if I need a shit halfway through? Do you know what I mean? And like, what if you're talking and she thinks you're sat in the toilet? Like, she know, like when you go to the toilet for a shit, someone knows you've gone for a shit because you're in there for a good amount of time. There's like a wee amount of time.
So I wee a lot because I drink a lot, and I always come back, and if I think, oh God, that wee took too long, I'll be like, just so you know, I was only having a wee. I don't want them to think I was like taking a dump or something while I'm on a day. That's horrifying.
Yeah, no, again, that's what I don't want to like. Yeah, I wouldn't want to say it straight away.
You don't want to check your lipstick and have to like sort your lip, because the longer you're in there as a woman, making sure you look okay, it's not good, because they're just thinking, oh, she's just doing a banging shit or something. I don't know.
Cracking out a fat dump. I haven't found it too much of a problem. And I mean, I think one person maybe didn't potentially understand it, and just found it a bit gross. But luckily, other people that I've told when we've been sort of talking a little bit longer, they understand it. And again, I like to make a bit of a joke about it, and I'd like to call it runny bum, and I say like, oh yeah, you know, I've had runny bum today, and that's understood then. And you know, it's like giving it a code word. It's runny bum is what I've had. And
I always say I've been bad today, but the problem is they always want clarification on what sort of bad was you. Was it just the bad stomach, or was you full on bad?
Just had runny bum, and then it's like and then or like, cool, that was it. That was a bad one. And you don't have to say too much, and it's understood. So again, like people are accepting of it, and also actually with the whole sort of mental health thing and other things, like people maybe on the autistic spectrum, for example, and you would never know, but that's something that they then tell you. Do you know what I mean? Everybody sort of has quirks, let's say, about them, or
definitely,
or something like that. Or again, an allergy. I know that's an allergy is a bit different, but the same thing. They've had to live their life in a certain way. And
saying that, I've noticed actually, like today, at work, one of the college tutors come in to basically sign one of my girls up to college, and I don't know what come up, and I just said, oh no, was on about the COVID jab, and I was saying to her about having autoimmune issues, and then got on the subject, and I was like, to make it as easy as possible, I was like, I have Crohn's. And she's like, oh, I have celiac. So she said, not quite the same thing, but I can sympathise a little bit. And I've noticed when you mention something to someone now, it's almost like they feel comfortable to tell you their illness or whatever, actually, which is quite nice, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't massively. This isn't like something that massively I talk about, but I've at university I did have a few sort of problems with my head, funny head, and had to have sort of counselling for that. And to this day, I'm still on medication for it, but I'm glad the conversation is happening about it. Again, I don't think I will ever sort of massively openly talk about what I've been through and what's going on in my head, because I'm not one of them people. But when it comes to talking about IBD, I think with, like, I put on Facebook this year, I did a bit of a post about it, and just trying to raise awareness, basically, that it's something else, and everyone just likes to talk a bit more about what's going on, and it's it's nice. And at university, we actually there was two different sets of university halls. One was 30 seconds from the campus. One was 4 miles away up a massive hill. And as we got to know each other, we all had our own individual health conditions. That meant we'd been allocated the closer location. So mine had an ensuite, for example, because I needed that. Obviously,
of course.
There's nothing worse than a shit. And then I actually went up to the other halls, and it was like Beirut. Honestly, it was horrific. I couldn't imagine taking a massive dump in there. But having my own ensuite, I was so grateful for. And actually, like I said, on reflection, we all got to know each other, and we said, hang on, you've got this. Oh, yeah, I've got this. Oh, and we sort of had a joke about it. So everybody has something that is affecting them.
On Discord, I'm Broken Anus, which is a nickname given to me. I haven't called myself it.
No, that's a nice nickname.
And Ben is the Grand Autismo.
I saw that one. I like that
one. And he sometimes, occasionally, for special occasions, I get called Smamp for Shittingtons, but only by Ben. He'll say stuff like, where are we landing on on Rebirth or something. I'm like, where are we landing then, Smamp for Shittingtons? But see, that's what I meant earlier by, it's okay when your friends make jokes, or ideas, like, oh, I shit myself this morning, me too, or whatever. But when random strangers come at you with, like, sort of borderline, is it funny, is it just a dick comment, it's not nice. But well, it's not so much it's not nice, you're just like, who the fuck are you, back up, who do you think you are talking to me like that? But I do think, going back to, like, the mental health side of it, I do think that at some point surely most people would go through at least something, because I spent a hell of a lot of time thinking there was something wrong with me, especially because they kept telling me it was like anxiety and IBS, because I do have an anxiety disorder, which I've had. They diagnosed it at 19, but I've always been an anxious child, to be honest, and quite often they'll see I've got anxiety on my folder and instantly go, or it's stress, it's this, it's that, it's the other. And then it turns out that actually, like, because they said I'd got heart, or what you call it, I was having panic attacks, which my idea of the panic attack,
palpitation thing.
So they were telling me I had panic attacks from the age of 11, and I'll do a brief thing to you. Oh God, it'll go in a minute, don't worry, but my heart's just going, and I'm like, don't worry, it'll go in a minute, I'm just whatever. And apparently that is a panic attack, and then obviously later rushed into hospital and everything and nearly died, and it's actually a heart condition. So, like, quite often they'll brush you off with, I'd like you say, why did you not get a colonoscopy sooner? It makes no, like, this guy's just had jelly red stuff come out. Oh, you know what? Give it a week. I'm sure it's probably something you've ate. Like,
do some fibre gel to mix into your water in the morning. That's nice.
Is that about? Like, what the? And they'll see something on a folder and then just write you off. And I think the main thing coming back with mental health and IBD is mainly down to, for me, isolation, not knowing what was going on, constantly blaming myself, wondering why I can't be normal. Not that, I mean, if anyone wants to tell me what normal is, I don't actually know anyway. And then, because they wouldn't give me a diagnosis. It's almost like, is life always going to be like this? Will it ever get any better? Why is everything such a battle? And you feel really guilty for thinking it, because there's people far worse than you, but you're just trying to get through a normal day as normal as possible, and your body's just going, nah, fuck off, that ain't happening.
Yeah, I mean, I see people, like I said, on Instagram, and sometimes when I've had a bit of a runny bum, I'm a bit like, oh, woe me, and then I look at them and I think, do you know what? Actually, you are very lucky to have it as sort of mildly as you do.
Yeah.
And I am sort of grateful, and the people that have to go through multiple like surgeries and different have some Gaviscon in a couple of days up and you'll be fine.
Do you know how many people was given things like Gaviscon? James, I think Paul, you was on that one, weren't you? Where I think James said, was it Buscopan? I was given Buscopan as well, and Lopramide to stop you going. And
I don't know what fibre gel actually does. I think it's meant to help you go, but that wasn't the problem.
They even give me, they told me to go back on antidepressants, saying that might help with IBS being in my head. I had peppermint oil capsules. The only thing actually that sort of worked for me was acid refluxing to calm the issue down. And when I told them it was the only thing that helped, why on earth did they not think, oh, this girl might have ulcers if the acid content going down is helping? Like, why would they not have at least thought there might be something more here? Yeah, the amount of people saying they've been given Buscopan, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I mean, I get that the health services, that they work as best as they can, and they work as hard as they can, but at the same time, like you said, when I'm shitting a big red blob and I'm losing weight and they've given me fibre gel. Okay, they might have tried a treatment at first. The GP actually fingered me as well.
Oh,
like when I went in.
Who else has had a finger in their bum at least
once? My God. Dr. Khan, man. Like, I literally went in to see him and he was like, right, just pop up. And I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, just pop your trousers down. Next thing you know, his cold hard fingers in my ass. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I was not expecting this.
I had a female doctor do it, and then the amount of times I've told lad mates after, and they're like, can you go into a bit more detail, please? Tell me everything.
No, I was like, this is the family doctor that's like seen us for years and years.
It wasn't.
And now he's fingering me. Oh, God.
Thankfully, the woman that did mine is just someone who, she had been looking after my case with my heart, but she weren't like the main doctor, and after that I could not go to. She was one of my favourites to go to, and after that I could not go to her. I couldn't even look her in the eye.
I think that might have been the last time I'd spoken to him. Yeah, I genuinely think that was the last time I saw him, and ever since I've needed to go back for whatever. It's been a different doctor. I mean, I think he's since retired, but yeah.
Maybe he didn't want to see you again either.
I wasn't expecting it.
Did you give him eye contact? Did you I feel like
I rolled back and was like that. I was looking at him,
Sometimes someone should go in and just give them the stare back, as if this is happening.
Yeah, like go on. Yeah, Peter.
Do you know what? I haven't watched that episode yet. I've got the box set, and obviously Disney Plus has put both American Dad and Family Guy on, and I have preferenced American Dad, not gonna lie, and I'm nearly finished going through American Dad, and then I'm gonna start on Family Guy actually, but I've watched quite a few of them, but I haven't watched that one. I'm gonna go and Google it later.
It's obviously that's a man thing, that when you get older as well, you're gonna have to accept it's happening. But as a 15-year-old going in, your family doctor like slipping a finger up your ass, you're like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no warning. I thought. I had no idea, like lying on my side with my pants down, that he was actually. I thought he was just gonna like spread my cheeks a bit and have a look, but no, he had a feel.
So mine actually was for a little bit of blood back when I reckon I must have been between the ages of 18 and 20 odd. And I kept having a bit of blood, and I told my mum, and she's like, you're going to have to go, and I was like, I'm not, it'll go in a day or two, and it didn't. And obviously eventually I was like, what if they want to do that? And she's like, they won't, and I come back, and instantly she was like, hey, was it? I'm like, I'm not talking to you, I am not
I got
talking to
fingered. You
anyone.
said I wouldn't.
And then after she started laughing, it was like, well, I was like, you probably say that they wouldn't, and they did. And she was like, don't worry. Like the woman's like, don't worry, it's just an anal like tear or whatever. Which obviously, as you.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, so obviously it sounds bad, but like I always used to when I was younger. I'd go days and days where I wouldn't go once, and then when I finally did go, I'd be in there ages hoping that it would happen, and I'd have to just sit and almost be like waiting to, if someone had said you're going to go from like doing 1 or 2 a week, waiting, hoping it'll come, to 14 times in a day at your worst, I never would have believed them, but yeah.
No. Yeah, no, it's it's been a sort of weird journey, and I think I'm healthy now, and I'm carrying on. I've started to take, I think, a little bit more diet wise. No, not really, but health wise, I've started to try and be a little bit more active. I can't say that I'm running a marathon every day, but even just like once or twice a week, if I can go out for a kickabout or something like that, just to I think I do need to start taking a bit more care of myself, as well as I know I'm not young. I'm not like massively old. I'm only 25. But at the same time,
you make it sound like you're 100.
I know, but I compare myself to when I was 18 and how I felt at uni. Like I felt like I was invincible at uni, but then even having a kickabout these days, I'll feel it the next morning, sort of thing already. So maybe I should take a bit more care of myself, but. Yeah.
Definitely, 100%. If anyone is in the chat wants to ask a question, feel free, because I know obviously we've all compared notes as we've gone along. But if anyone does want to ask any random questions or anything, no questions too.
How many times have you been fingered by a family doctor?
Yeah, that's the question. Actually, we never asked that one before. I feel like it should be a weekly one. How often do you go to the toilet on a good day? What's an average day? What's your worst day? And have you had a finger in your arse? And also, how far has your colonoscopy gone in? Because also, I didn't realise that sometimes you're only getting a half a job.
Yes,
so,
luckily.
Has your colonoscopy been all the way up, all the way out, back through your throat again, or vice versa, where the endoscopy's made it all the way through your entire body, back out your anus? Like, and have you really had one unless that's happened?
And have you wanted to shit your pants while lying on the table, but the doctor's promised you that it'll be absolutely fine, and then you just do a massive fart instead? I think that's my favourite. That's one of my favourite things. I just rip a massive fart.
James, who was on, I've actually clipped it. It is on my Instagram about his, because they fed him before his because they didn't realise, and unfortunately, bless him, he dribbled out all the curry previously eaten after. And he tells the story, and a beautiful nurse helps mop him up after, and he's like, this literally should not be happening to me, what the fuck? But it's quite a funny one, and I'm just literally crying the entire time he's telling me.
I mean, like, you've got to laugh at having, like I said, when I finally did let rip and did a massive fart, everyone laughed, I laughed, and I felt so much better for it, and it's making a bit... and it's a serious thing, and obviously you shouldn't have to be in hospital. If you're in hospital, it's probably not for relatively positive, but yeah.
You talking about farts, actually, does anyone else get this, where your belly just feels like a massive bag of air that's trapped, and when you finally do one, it's so loud, but it doesn't smell of anything because it's just pure air? But then, obviously, when you're in a flare, it smells like someone's crawled up your ass and died, and there seems to be nothing in between. It's either nothing and loud, or silent and violent, and the most horrific thing you've ever come across.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a bit of a habit of, if I can quickly get onto Snapchat, I will record my farts.
And send them to friends.
And also listen to them back at a later date. Yeah, at a later date, there's a... Yeah, it's great, because it's funny, because sometimes I just record it and it's dark. Sometimes I record my face and then like react as I fart. And I just think it's something so silly. What went to fart in the loo after thinking, oh God, no one will hear me.
Everyone heard. I don't know if you guys, I put it down to the fact I've now probably got a baggy anus from all the times I've had to go to the loo. But sometimes when I bend down, it doesn't happen very often, but it's almost that it's that loose, I let out like a little squeaky noise, and it's not even like anything, it doesn't smell or anything, it's almost like my body's just got so used to stuff like, I don't know, coming out of it, it's like it's opened and just let it out.
Isn't that a Madness song, Baggy Anus?
Yeah, Baggy Anus. I love how, exactly, I'm not the only one. So yeah, like literally the amount of times I've bent down for something and it just happens. I'm like, for fuck's sake. And thankfully all the girls at work think it's funny. I'm like, sorry, it must be that baggy down there at this point. It's just like, yeah, and it sounds like a bit like, you know, a balloon when you just let a little bit of air out of it and it does that little bit of a noise. Yeah. That's like how it comes out, or like a little squeak. But yeah, so I tend to find, like I say, I'm either one end where it's loud and sounds terrific, but it's actually nothing, or the opposite end. The only thing I've ever filmed is sometimes my intestines make the weirdest noises, and I have put my camera so you can hear my intestines doing the weirdest noise, because I'm like, this isn't normal. So I'll play it and then go to all my friends, listen to this, and then like my intestines, like, it's like, I don't know, they're having a rave in there or something.
Yeah, no, that when I've had like I think a lot of people do, but especially when I've had a large meal, and my body's like, right, panic stations, let's try and digest this. It does sound amazing.
Yeah. That's a question. How quick after eating have you been bad? What's your record?
Well, this is something I was going to mention as well. So more recently, I think that I did. Do you know what? I've said I did something you shouldn't do. I googled it, but basically, relatively recently, but it hasn't happened so much recently.
Yeah.
When I've eaten, as soon as I've eaten, I've had to go, and that's something that I self-diagnosed that I shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Called gastro something reflex.
Okay.
Basically, I can't find it, but basically what it was, I'd find that I'd be eating, and I thought, am I like shitting it out that quickly?
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It's basically the action of eating food was sort of triggering movement and stuff like that.
I had an argument with my ex's mom. I'm placid. If you want to tell me the sky's green, I think get on with it, because I know it's blue, so we're all entitled to our opinion. But I did have an argument with her once, because she didn't know, obviously I had it at the time or for years later, but she did actually have Crohn's, and she was saying about, obviously it's usually minimum 6 hours, and it usually triggers the bowel movement like you're saying. And I did have an argument with her once, because my quickest is 15 minutes, and that used to happen quite a lot. And the one day she was saying it's not that meal, it'll have just triggered it. And I turned around to her and said, going back to the pizza story, you know, vegetable pizza, haven't been able to eat vegetable pizza for years. And I've turned around to her and gone, well, without being rude, next time I go, if you want to check in the toilet, and this is the grimmest thing ever, but you know the little pieces of vegetables on the top of your pizza?
Yeah.
Eating vegetables for days, right? Eat that vegetable pizza before everyone else has even finished, right? I have to excuse myself, go to the toilet, obviously be bad, and if I was to turn round, all the toppings are literally in the toilet. And she was trying to say to me, it's not physically possible, and I'm like, I'm not saying usually it is, but if you want to come up with me after and have a little discussion, get it under the microscope, feel free. I'm not saying all my meals it happens, but certain meals it definitely does.
I mean, I don't think I've had it go through like massively quickly before, but I do sometimes have a meal and it definitely triggers something happening. And like not even finished the meal, but I went back. Yeah, I've done that before where I've had to be like, I've started eating, got halfway through a meal, had to like dash to the toilet, come back, and then finish it because it triggers something inside of you.
Happened, I can't. That's me done for the night.
It feels a bit weird after you've been for a dump to have your rest of your dinner, especially when you've been sat there in pain and stuff like that. I'm gonna put my fairy lights on.
I always comment, and I don't know if you guys can relate. I feel like when you have a flare up or whatever, I almost feel like it's actually not going for a poo, it's almost like vomiting from you.
Yeah, it's liquid. Yeah, it's liquidy a lot of the time.
Almost.
Yeah.
But it's not even the consistency. It's almost, to me, it's almost like your arse is just retching. You know it's going to happen. You run, and it's like it's retching. It's not even like a normal movement.
It's not a normal poo. It's not like you're like, I'd quite like a poo because I haven't had a poo in a while.
I need a satisfying poo.
No, yeah, do you know what I mean? You're not like, right, I'm just going to go off for a quick crap. I'll be back in a minute. It's like, I need to go. Something's coming out. It's like when you're being sick, I guess. Yeah, exactly. When you're like, ugh. Yeah.
The thing is, IBD is so different, so it might not be. So hers was very strange, but in fact, I'll go through hers a little bit at a future date because that's a different kind of worms. Because at the time, they kept just telling me it was IBS. It was absolutely years and years later that I even found out I got Crohn's. So at the time, she just thought. To be honest, I think she thought I was making up that I was bad. To be honest, half the time, but yeah. But that's a different story for another day because her Crohn's is quite interesting because they've turned around to her now and said that Crohn's has disappeared. Very strange scenario, so it's something for another day.
Yes.
Yeah, we all get ring sting, I know.
Yes, bum like a Japanese flag, definitely.
Yeah, my lad mates will keep saying sometimes when like I've been, because obviously I was going through a flare up when I used to game quite a bit. And they'll keep joking with me saying I need a donut to sit on when I'm gaming, so to ease the padding from my bum. But I've got a decent chair now anyway because the chair I was sitting on was crippling my ribs, to be honest. But
that's what I mean. Like the whole being naked thing. I then struggle to sit in this chair or a chair. That's why I then have to sort of lie down afterwards.
Lying down, hot water bottle. I always think it's the best personally. Yeah, definitely lying down because the pain. When you're cramping or like if you've got a lot of built up, it sounds bad because you get built up gas, but it doesn't. It's not like you even fart. It's just there, and eventually it eases off, I guess. But if there's any questions, obviously anyone wants to ask, feel free because we'll try and wrap it up because obviously we always run over. Is there any advice you want to give anyone who is on the stream?
No, really. I mean, don't ignore things as well. Especially anything, any health condition, anything that's going on in your head or anything like that. Don't ignore it. And I know it can be difficult to reach out to a doctor or someone else or something like that, but never ignore anything. I don't think that's obviously not the way to deal with it. And I can't say that I've not done that before. But yeah, never ignore anything. And like I've met Sam through this. I've met a load of people from doing the poo stream, and I mean, obviously after COVID, but I've done the 10K walks and stuff, and I will try and go back to that networking event if they're running it again, just to meet people and talk. And it's like you said, people know exactly what you've been through or are going through, and it's not like I've got IBS. It's I know exactly what you mean. I've had that experience as well. So yeah, just talk about it if you want to and if you feel comfortable, and get on with Sam and she'll drag you on last minute because someone else cancels. So.
But aren't you glad you come on and embarrassed yourself talking about being by your GP and stuff?
Yes, no, and
you could have been having a boring night and everything.
Yeah, shout out to Dad for doing the anima as well. Love that.
Actually next week I've got T on as well because I messaged both of you, and then obviously got let down, and I thought, well, I'll ask you first, and then she said, she can do next week, so it worked quite well. But if anyone is, because a lot of the people who've chatted tonight are regulars to the stream, if any of you do want to ever come on, or you know anyone who wants to be interviewed, I am looking for more guests. And although we had a lot of glitching out on the charity stream, it was very successful, and a lot of people said they really enjoyed it and they'd like more of it. So the plan is to carry on fundraising where we do another one, whether we play a different game or whatever. So if there's any people out there who like gaming, etc.
I want to jump in on some gaming as well on PS4 or whatever. I'd like to have a go at that at some point as well. So
because the plan is eventually, when I get enough time, I do want to build up an IBD gaming team, even if it's only once a week, once a month or every other week. Because the problem is time constraints, because when September comes around, I'm going to be getting a little bit busier than what I already am. But the plan is to eventually set up a gaming team where we literally just gaming and chatting about IBD, but also doing the charity streams, even if they're once a month or once in a blue moon, and just basically grow it bigger, I guess, and add to it. And like I say, anyone who is already on Twitch, obviously I can try and cross promote and share content and stuff like that. So hopefully it'll just keep going from strength to strength. I know Crohns and Colits have spoke to me about potentially being interviewed as an IBD gamer. I think they have approached Uncle Fiesta as well. He's quite a good person to follow if people don't already on Twitch, because he often will talk to you. He's got a bag as well. I interviewed him a few weeks ago. He joked about putting Lego in his stoma, so he's quite a good laugh. Oh, sounds good. Cool. I'll drop you a message on Insta then in that case, and we'll have a little chat. But yeah, so the plan is to obviously move forward and carry on with it. I don't plan on giving it up anytime soon. In fact, I plan on expanding it. And thank you ever so much for giving up your time and coming on, especially since it was so last minute and all that.
No, don't worry. Thank you for having me on. And also, a bit like the charity stream, you're doing really good stuff to raise awareness for it as well. So thank you as well for raising awareness and putting your time to do all of this, because I don't think I'd know how to set all that screen stuff up. Do you do all the design yourself as well, just quickly?
Do you know what? I am a hairdresser by day. All my graphics are made by me.
Yeah, amazing.
I'm quite proud, considering I used to be able to corrupt all my windows and everything. In fact, my setup is it's a bit of a mess at the minute because I'm still building on it, but I'll show all you guys at the minute. I've never actually done this on a stream, so bear with me because it is all tied in. So you'll probably all get a flash of my pyjamas and everything. So I've now got a double screen setup, which is the first ever time ever. You'll have to forgive me because I am on a tripod. And I also have all my... So considering I was someone who used to corrupt all my files and everything and never been very good with technology, I never thought I'd end up here. But for me, it was the isolation of not knowing what was wrong with me, feeling alone, especially the worst it got was during COVID, so even more in my head. I like to keep busy, I'm usually self-employed, I work all hours, and then all of a sudden you have to stop because I'm a hairdresser. It was really affected to then have too much time with my thoughts, which does not help. And I remember thinking, I'm not the worst person here and I'm still not dealing with it well. And then obviously when you see what other people are going through, I'm like, I still feel guilty because I'm not dealing with it well. And it makes you realise just how much stuff like this is probably needed. So the only reason I do it is so people don't feel as alone as I probably felt, because I was like, do I go and chat to people with IBS? Do I go and chat to people with IBD? Who do I go and, like, I don't know who I... Not that you need to belong, but it is nice to be a part of something, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you everyone who has come and watched. Like I say, I'll be back next week with T, who also joined for the charity stream. As usual, I think everyone gets used to them running over. I know T said next week that I can keep her awake as long as needed, because she says she loves talking about poo and everything. And I think she's even booked the day off work the next day because she's more than happy to keep chatting. So I think next week might actually end up being the longest stream ever, because the messages are like, yeah, keep me on, I'm not bothered, I'll keep going. So I think she does have a Twitch account as well, so it should be interesting because I think she does game occasionally as well. Thank you ever so much, guys, and I will be back next week. I'll be on Monday at 8. Normal gaming, and then Wednesday 8 o'clock obviously with tea, so if you do want to join any of those, feel free. And if not, if anyone wants to message on Instagram, and I will remember to put that meme on in a second. I'll go and do it, I haven't forgotten. Alright, take care guys, see you later, bye bye.